I was born and raised in Joplin, spent my whole life here. I grew up raised by a single parent. Being biracial in Joplin as a kid was a little tough, but not too bad. My grandmother lived right next door to me, and we were a faith-based family. Church every Sunday. Jesus was the head of our lives. Nothing came in between our walk. I was raised to be the good Christian girl in school, and that's what I did. My grandfather died when I was about 17. He was my king. I was his little princess, and that really, I think, took me for a toll. And after his death, my senior year in high school and then my college years, I just kind of got out of church. I wasn't really into drugs or alcohol, but I loved the clubs. I loved to party. I loved to hang out with my friends, and so that's what I did. And I met my husband in a club. That was probably the first mistake. We got married, and of course, being married to an unequally yoked person wasn't the best thing at all. My first year of marriage, I got pregnant, and I had my son at 7 months. So he was 3 months premature. And then is when I got my faith back. I was looking at my newborn baby, 3 pounds in the NICU, and not knowing if he was going to make it until tomorrow. And so quickly, my faith was reinstated. My prayer life got stronger. I got back into the church. Those first years of marriage were rough. My husband was unfaithful. He was into drugs. I tried to make it work, and like any other Christian woman, I went to my pastor for help, and I asked him, what should I do? What can I do? And so, of course, his answer was prayer. And so I prayed. I prayed long and hard for my husband. We separated, and he came back, and then I got pregnant with my daughter. My daughter was also high-risk pregnancy, and so that was rough. It was rough on my marriage. It was rough on me. She was born premature as well. But this time, my faith was right where it needed to be. I had no worries. I knew that Jesus was going to pull her through, and I knew that she was going to be just fine. So after I brought her home, we started getting letters in the mail about my husband's infidelity and him being the father to a couple other children. And so that was kind of the end of our marriage. I had prayed and I had done everything that I could do, and at that point we were done. And so I left him and started the process of a divorce. But here I am, a single parent with 2 young children, and I needed to do something. I needed to make it okay. And so I decided to go to nursing school. I went to LPN school, which was a year commitment of just every day, Monday through Thursday, school, and then working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There were times where ramen noodles were our favorite meal. And the kids loved it. They were young, and we would sit on the floor, and they'd have coloring books, and I would have my A&P book, and we would make it through. And we'd go to church on Sundays, and prayer and reading was what we did. And I got through that time. And then the tornado hit. And anybody that was involved in the tornado or around the tornado knows that that just was something that I never knew could happen. But even when I worked at the hospital that day, you could feel the Spirit of the Lord all around. It was chaotic. There were people dying. There were things that I've never seen before and pray to never see again, but there was peace there. And so we made it through that. And I graduated nursing school. I got a job as a nurse, and things were going well. I had divorced my husband. I had separated myself from him and his family. And that part of my life I thought was complete. And then one day in November of 2012, I got a phone call from DFS, and they had told me that my nieces, my ex-husband's sister's children, were in custody. There were 3 girls, and so I told them that I needed to pray about it. I was a single mom of 2 living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I didn't know if I had the funds, the space, the means to take care of 3 more children. And so the next day I called them and told them that I could take the 2 oldest. I did get all 3 of them for a week until we got things settled out. The next few months, one of them was in drug and alcohol rehab for 30 days, and then the other one was in a juvenile detention center for about 6 months. the time that I had them, we had counselors, visits, and appointments 5 days out of the week. There were times where the kids and I would sit and eat dinner in the car while we were waiting outside of a counseling appointment. But through all this, I kept my faith and I kept my family in church. I had went to several different churches until I found a church home that fit our family, and we stayed there. I raised the girls. There came a point where the girls either had to go back with their mom or come and stay with me permanently, and because of some situations that were going on, I made the decision to adopt them. And so now I am the mother of 4 beautiful kids. Every day hasn't been good. It tells us that we're going to go through things. We're going to have storms. We're going to have situations that occur in life. But through all that, Jesus gave me peace. Through every obstacle that I ever faced in life, through my failed marriage, through being a single parent with children who had issues that I hadn't even faced before in life, I was able to come through that. I went to several different churches until I found, a church that fit my family. But no matter what church I went to, I had to remember that it starts at home. Like, it starts with my daily prayer. It starts with my time in the Bible, me teaching my children how to read and how to pray and how to find Jesus on their own. And so I'm a teacher now, and you're not supposed to stand in front of a class and open the Bible, but the way that I carry myself, the fact that I love Jesus with everything I am, I'm able to walk into my classroom and be a light to these children without ever having to crack open a Bible or, proclaim that I absolutely love Jesus. They can see it through me by the way that I walk. And so I'm thankful for that. I love the Lord, and I am beyond ecstatic that He is the head of my life and the head of my children's life. I am Mischia Jackson, and this is me.